Trui, Inma, T, M, Hnhth, B, Ing Ti, Ing On. Hello everyone. Today I'm starting a new series, The Mystery of the Headless Ancestral Portraits. This story is based on real experiences told by Ms. Xuyen from Makhoa, Longan. It all began in her grandparents' old house, a place filled with childhood memories, but also unexplainable events she didn't understand at the time. Xuyen grew up without her mother. Whenever she asked, her grandmother would only say, "Don't mention her. She no longer belongs to this family." But what frightened her the most wasn't the words, it was the look in her grandmother's eyes. One day, a young woman moved into the land next door. Her name was Nghiep. No one knew where she came from. The grandmother only said, "Let her stay. Don't ask questions." Nghiep lived a very private life. She sewed during the day and rarely appeared at night. But the strangest thing was, every early morning before dawn, she lit incense and chanted prayers in a low, dragging voice. A few months later, the grandparents rebuilt their house into a solid brick home. Yet strangely, they also built a separate thatched house for Nghiep, as if intentionally keeping her apart. One night, Xuyen's father secretly showed her an old wedding photo. The woman in the picture was beautiful, but her eyes carried deep sadness. "This is your mother." Before she could ask anything, her grandmother walked in and snatched the photo. Without a word, she burned it right in front of them. This should have ended long ago. From that moment, Xuyen realized a huge secret was being hidden. Xuyen grew close to Nghiep, often visiting her to study and sew clothes for dolls. But the closer she got, the more uneasy she felt. Nghiep's skin was dark and rough, almost scorched. Her curly hair looked completely different from locals. Xuyen's father often brought her food, but she always declined politely. At night, he lay on a hammock, singing Light Rain in a sorrowful voice, as if he was mourning someone he couldn't name. One night, the power went out, plunging everything into darkness. From Nghiep's house, an unusually bright candlelight glowed. Xuyen peeked through a crack. Inside, shadowy figures crouched silently. The air felt thick, filled with a rotten fish smell. She heard low oh sounds, almost human, but not quite. When she looked closer, she froze. Those things, pale, doll-sized, were crawling, climbing, and gnawing on fish bones. Suddenly, a voice whispered, "Want to eat with us?" That voice was not human. That night, she dreamed her doll moved on its own. It was dragged away by those pale creatures. The next morning, the doll was still there, but all its clothes were gone. At the same time, Nghiep started buying large amounts of dead fish, not for food, but to keep the foul-smelling intestines. One time, Xuyen saw her whispering, "Cat, cat," while bowing repeatedly in the dark. From that moment, she knew Nghiep was not normal. Fear slowly turned into suspicion. Xuyen decided she would break into Nghiep's house one night to uncover the truth about things that do not belong to the human world. That night, when everyone was asleep, Xuyen quietly stepped outside. The sky was pitch black, wind howling through the coconut trees. Nghiep's house had no lights, but the door wasn't locked. She pushed it gently. Creak. The sound tore through the silence. Inside, pure darkness. The smell of fish, stronger than ever. As her eyes adjusted, she saw an altar, but it wasn't like any altar she had ever seen. On it, dozens of photos. All of them had their bodies cut off. Only the heads remained. Each face was different, old, young, male, female, but they all shared one thing. Their eyes. Those eyes were staring directly at her. Not from the past, but right now. "What are you looking for?" The voice came from behind. Xuyen turned around. Nghiep was standing there, but her face was no longer the same. Her skin was pale, eyes wide open, unblinking, and her smile stretched unnaturally wide. Nghiep stepped closer to the altar, gently touching each photo. "Do you know who they are?" Without waiting, she continued, "They are people without bodies." Xuyen trembled. "And your mother?" Nghiep pointed to a photo in the center. Xuyen froze. It was the woman from the wedding picture. "Your mother didn't leave," Nghiep whispered. "Your grandmother kept her." The air froze. "These photos are how souls are trapped." Xuyen shook her head. "No, impossible." Nghiep smiled. "Have you ever wondered why offerings are always there?" and why your father never leaves. Another voice echoed in the dark. Because we are still here. Xuyen turned back. The altar, the heads in the photos. Their lips were moving. Nghiep whispered, I am not the evil one. I am just the keeper. The one who started everything. She pointed toward the main house. Is your grandmother? Click. The door behind her shut. The oh sounds returned. And this time, they were coming closer. Xuyen was trapped inside that house. And for the first time, she realized her family had never truly been among the living. Xuyen rushed toward the door, pulled, pounded, screamed, but it wouldn't move. Behind her, the oh sounds grew closer, no longer distant, but right behind her neck. A cold hand touched her skin. She turned around. They were no longer small. They stood upright, human-sized, their pale bodies stitched together from different parts. But none of them had heads. Their necks, hollow and dark. Then, the heads from the altar fell, thud, thud, rolling across the floor, and crawling back toward the bodies. One body stepped forward. It stopped right in front of her. Slowly, it bent down, picked up a head. It was her father, his face twisted, but still recognizable. He looked at her, lips moving. Don't be afraid. Tears streamed down her face. Dad. Nghiep stood behind her. Her voice lowered. You see now, no one here is truly alive. Xuyen shook her head. Then, what am I? Nghiep paused, then said, You are the only one not trapped yet. The air froze. But tonight, she looked at the altar. If you stay too long, you will become like them. Nghiep held out a small knife. To escape, you must cut the bond. Either you leave alone, or you stay with them. Her father looked at her, pleading eyes, not asking to be saved, but asking not to be abandoned. The next morning, Xuyen was found sitting in front of the house, her eyes empty. Her father still lay on the hammock. Her grandmother, cooking as usual. Everything seemed normal. But on the altar, there was a new photo, a young face, eyes silently screaming. And below it, no body,